Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2, the playoff bracket of ASUS ROG Nordic Championships this fall 2021. Just in case you're watching a decade into the future and Maru is still dominating. Let me introduce you to the man who's been on a team longer than anyone in StarCraft 2 history, sponsored by Mouse Sports for the entirety of StarCraft 2. But nothing he does is particularly small. Known for his immense brain, among other things, the biggest of all games, let me introduce you to the German Terran, HeroMarine. Finding a lot of success lately, but pretty consistent as well. Let's see who he's up against. In case you were surprised to see him as Zerg, and for the first time, messing up search engines with his misspelled name for years now. The fastest player, and I'm pretty confident saying that, in StarCraft 2, averaging approximately 600 actions per minute, or 10 actions per second. And most of them actually quite useful. 18, maybe 19 years old now. Damn kids. The Italian stallion. It's Reynor. Drew out those dramatic intros. I hope you enjoy. Because we do have a standard textbook opener. Several minutes of building up with the Reaper coming out. No sort of shenanigans afoot. I don't expect any sort of crazy plays, at least early on in this best of 5. I think both these players are confident in the mid to late game. And that is why, just beside the connotation of these players playing each other, that is why particularly these two, I think, are going to have a great matchup. Reynor, I think of as your ultra mid-game, mass unit, high economy, multitasking player. Whereas Big Gabe, on the other hand, I think of as your mid-game, high economy, multitasking player. So here we are. Honestly, if I had to draw a bit of a parallel with anyone, I would put Reynor as a bit more of a solar. Always really heavy on the macro when possible, though willing to all-in. And HeroMarine more of a cure, if I had to have some Korean counterparts, which is not as relevant as it may have once been in StarCraft 2 history. But still is fun to draw. HeroMarine maybe not, despite his name, not so valuing individual Marines as positioning and overall strategy. His plan will likely be to draw Reynor out of position in order to maximize damage, as opposed to turning on his aimbot like certain French Terrans out there. Oh my god. Well, there are few more dramatic ways to draw someone out of position than with a fusion core! Big Gabe going for the big boy battle cruisers in game 1. A strong, literally the most expensive unit in the game, besides a mothership. And there are no disgusting Protoss here to defile this match. Opening with the battlecruiser, not a completely off-the-wall strat. Definitely not out of the meta, such as it is. But the battlecruisers did receive a slight nerf after getting their big tactical jump and attack speed, well, attack while moving buffs several years ago. So, while the battlecruisers are no longer the strong capital ship in all caps with 2 exclamation points and a question mark, they're more like capital ships as a proper noun with maybe 1 exclamation point. I'm willing to go that far. Like, just a little should be the tactical jump noise instead of like the menu interaction sound, but you get used to whenever you hear the little the menu sound that is the tactical jump noise, you learn to panic like you heard In fact, I would argue that nuclear launch detected is less impact than a battlecruiser jumping in at 5 minutes, because nuclear launch detected doesn't kill your drones instantly. But that ship has teleported and sailed, and you kind of just get used to the tactical jump noise. Well, Reynor did see the third CC. The battlecruiser comes out. It's going to be a bio follow-up, but that first battlecruiser... Is this just a macro cruiser? Wait, did he see it? Did he see it? If we see half a dozen spores in a spire, he jumps to the back. The queens are already in position, so if he didn't see it, he definitely smelled it. As Reynor, with anything at the... I'm pretty sure he saw it with the Zergling. Just caught a glimpse. The Hellions a bit of an issue here. Banelings closing the distance, but HeroMarine with good targeting. Bit of an awkward fight, because this is a 3cc in the battlecruiser. This is not hitting at a part... Brenda! Yeah, it's a laser bathtub. What can we do? Well, I don't know. Throw your needles at it. It doesn't seem to be doing any damage. Keep trying! The armor on the battlecruisers is quite strong, even before any upgrades. The thing is, when you go 3cc into anything, especially battlecruisers, you do kind of cede most ability to pressure. While Hellions and a couple battlecruisers, with Yamato, I might add, he's got all the bells and whistles, such as they are in the early game. There's been a lot of time for Reynor to build up. While he doesn't have the upgrades as quick, he does have 78 drones, for now. He does have 4 hatches. Ooh. And he does have a bead on how to kill Hellions. Yamato cannon is blasting apart a couple of the queens. It's like Lucille and Susan will not be coming to the potluck later. At the hatchery, where everybody will vomit onto the hatchery and we'll see what pops out. Paternity tests are quite a thing in the Zerg. Maternity, I guess. Not get too far into details here, as Banelings make their way over towards the 4th. Now, the one question for Reynor will be, what's the follow-up? Oh, no, that's not a question. That was a question for me. Raynor's already figured it out. It's bio. Oh my god. Look at this base. A little bit of SimCity action. The icons of production taking up so much of the screen because HeroMarine has kicked the macro engine into its highest gear. He's got nearly an octo-rack setup, 7 barracks, building a dozen Marines at a time, reactored starport, 2 medivacs, armory on the way to supplement with 2 upgrades, probably be 4. Reynor is able to complete his 1-1. But on the other side of the story, the Italian Zerg, 5 hatcheries, could easily afford a macro hatch. Hydra's on the way, and he's got a hive started. Hatchery might be targeted down, but enough banelings come crashing through, force the Marines away. Banelings will scout the command center landing. Battlecruiser's still a threat. Queen's moving to intercept. Double drop into the main. There weren't any units here originally, but Reynor able to move around in time, and the Hydra's able to gun down a medivac easily. Maybe looking for a second, not quite. Not enough Hydras there to finish it off. The battlecruisers still have Yamato and can jump away, of course. A massive thorn in Reynor's side, but a thorn nonetheless. Here come the Marines to finish the fight. The Queens! Oh no, they thought they were dealing with battlecruisers, but it's the boots on the ground that are able to gun them down. Reynor comes in with the rest of his ground units looking for vengeance. Will lose all the Marines. Does HeroMarine? Well, like I said, not valuing his namesake quite as much as you might expect, but strategically, which sounds like a cop-out way to say it. Overall, though, HeroMarine was working on establishing his 4th. He's still doing damage with the battle cruisers. He's limited Reynor, and he's reset the queen count. So that means re-creeping and keeping that creep spread, as well as having the built-in anti-air, is reduced. Unfortunately for HeroMarine, almost nothing else is, as Reynor opens up the production tab with essentially hive tech. Need I say more? I will, but we've got lurkers, lurker range, hydro range, adrenal glands, 2-2, static defense, 200 supply at 10.5 minutes for both sides, with 84 versus 94 workers. This is about as high economy macro multitask as you're gonna get, with HeroMarine to the north and Reynor crashing through to the south. Battle cruisers are gonna help hold the line, but the lines are definitely blurred as banelings splash all over the SCVs. Meanwhile, HeroMarine has annexed the base at high noon and is working his way in towards the 3rd. A single queen, not nearly enough to defend. Reynor has to pull back the tank line. Not overwhelming, but enough Marines and Marauders near it to make things difficult. 2-2. Actually, HeroMarine only started +2 attack. I don't know if he lost an NG Bay. No, he didn't. He didn't actually start +2 armor, which is somewhat of a it's definitely a mistake. That was not intentional here. That will leave HeroMarine with a little bit of a deficit in the upgrades. And something for Reynor. I don't think Reynor will expect it, but he'll notice it as time goes on and might be able to make use, as those Zerglings will actually have a chance against Marines if they don't have equal or better armor upgrades. The tanks are yanked in the lurker range. The lurkers shred them with a vengeance. Unfortunately, though, that leaves the main base mostly open to the Marine Marauder medevac of HeroMarine. Parasitic bomb gonna take out, well, on a couple of the medevacs. The burning ships fly up into the night. One will escape. Another one dies dramatically. A couple battle cruisers, remember them. HeroMarine has kept them intact. 15 kills, 23 kills, doing a lot of damage. We'll be able to jump away with one. The other, the Hydra's too much DPS, and Reynor going full Zerg expands to the southwest corner. HeroMarine doing a lot of damage. Reynor doing a lot of damage. And you might think, wow, what's left? 200 supply with plenty of workers. It may have never happened at all. Evenly matched as blow and counter blow equal out. The 4th base for HeroMarine, a planetary fortress. The 3rd, not so much. The weak point that Reynor will slam into with creep on the doorstep. Meanwhile, tanks are yanked down into the lurkers, and Reynor is overrunning the field. Unfortunately, though, a missile turret and battle cruiser are going to help take out some of the Vipers. There's a Nidus network on the way and an Overseer at a very suspicious position. Reynor still has a huge economy now with 1,800 more resources a minute. Mostly in minerals, but with a little bit of extra gas as well. Reynor has really focused on where he's been able to consolidate his forces, and that is the left side of the map here. The medevacs will see the very suspicious Overseer. The Overseer will see the medevacs. That's kind of how it works. Battlecruiser clearing up creep. Still something to beat. There aren't that many. There are only 5 Hydras and a handful of Queens, so the anti-air is actually somewhat limited. HeroMarine, there's a Nidus in the main. Does he notice? He's busy dealing with Hydraling Bane. The Nidus is going unchallenged. There are lurkers inside, and this is how games have ended before. Oh no, the medevacs full of Marines. Reynor crashes through. He's at the front. He's at the 3rd. The 4th base is vulnerable, and the main being eviscerated. Suddenly, Reynor's everywhere at once, and HeroMarine is nowhere at all. Reynor takes game 1. Oh, it's just too much. Wow. And that is how close it is. That easily could have been the other way around. If HeroMarine finds the opportunity to get the drops out and execute an attack, but Reynor took the initiative. I think that will be a trend throughout the series. Is everyone at full fighting strength and then suddenly someone dies. Because they're both fighting with so much on so many fronts so quickly. I didn't expect it to end so decisively. But Reynor, a man of action. Many actions. Incredibly large amounts of actions. Like, second-hand carpal tunnel level of actions. Or third-hand, actually, because I assume Reynor has 2. Moving on. Game 2. With the Italian up 1-0. $16 hatch. Interesting. Not, the details do matter a lot. I feel like I do gloss it over with my more anecdotal and nebulous commentary full of profound statements and analogy and metaphor that you should like and subscribe. But I'm wondering why 16 instead of 17. Is it to get enough creep, or to get creep out a little earlier and make sure you can line up with the spawning pool? Is he a little afraid maybe of proxy racks? Is it just more economical and I don't know how math works? All of these could be true. HeroMarine gonna scout after racks. Not particularly quick, but quick enough to keep the Reaper at home if Reynor ended up going for a pool first. So that is essentially the purpose of this SCV, just making sure. A lot of Terrans won't scout at all. Which I think a possibly too high percentage of the time backfires. Like, Yep, see the hatch. It's a hatch first. Move on with your life. Alright. Vacation's over. We're going home. It's getting dangerous out here. Which means the Reaper will come across. Not even gonna bother. Nowadays, Terran players don't seem to bother very much with trying to block a third. Zerg players more flexible with taking either of the options for third bases, and almost every map has 2 options, whether it's the front base or off to the side. There was a time when Terran players would either patrol an SCV or even sometimes build an engineering bay. But that's pretty rare nowadays. A third command center from Big Gabe. Not deterred by his loss in the previous macro-oriented game. I don't think he played poorly. I think Reynor just took the initiative. And the battle cruisers, while annoying, you gotta remember, a battle cruiser costs as many minerals as a command center. Plus 300 gas. Plus the fusion core. Plus you're not making any medivacs or any other unit out of a starport. Plus it's a tech lab on the starport. So it is quite an investment, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't really think that they justified that investment despite their presence in the last game. It's hard to judge because they constantly gain value. It's just about when and where they're gaining that value. Oh, HeroMarine gonna slap onto the tech lab. Will he build a Banshee? Or is this just for show? He builds a Banshee. He didn't even start Cloak, alright? Well, I guess he might not have had the get. What? Wow. Here's the real mind game. I don't think it's a mind game. I think he just didn't have the gas yet. But here's the mind game. So, a lot of players will start Cloak when the Overlord comes over, only to cancel it. HeroMarine doesn't start Cloak, and then he starts it after the Overlord's gone, in the ultimate counter meta. Reynor's probably going to build a Spore Crawler. Alright, last game, the battle cruisers were dealt with easily enough. This game, it's not battle cruisers, but the counter to Banshees is the same thing, but with less queens. Have a queen or 2 on each base, have a Spore Crawler for detection. Banshees are more of a defensive tool. They're kind of like building a Void Ray in Protoss versus Zerg. And you're like, and then you build 6 more. No. No. Not here. We don't do that here. Anyways. The Hellions sharking in, looking for any opportunities to show off their oncologist training, but the tumors are well protected for now. It's going to be a bio follow-up, adding on 2 more wrecks before engineering bays, which means HeroMarine wants to make sure he has a sizable marine count to complement the 1-1 upgrades. I'm expecting in about a minute and a half, a little over that, maybe 2 minutes, with medivacs popping out. Stim Marine and medivac push. You know, stick with the classics. 2 Banshees on their way out. They do have cloak, so they do require that overseer. Oh, Reynor actually moved his spore into position to block out the back of the base. That's also for dealing potentially with liberators. Oh God! They're everywhere. Oh my! Oh, wherever you turn, we'll be watching. As long as you're on creep. That's kind of how it works. One Banshee taking a bruising. The Queen's continuing to spread, and Reynor has opted for the base outside his main. He's building 17 creep tumors of varying varieties, whether from the Queens or just spread from previous ones. Though HeroMarine, remember, the way Terran versus Zerg works, it's not like Wings of Liberty. If a Terran is allowed 3 CCs and to build up, it looks like there was a Baneling. That made these SCVs very uncomfortable. We saw a few SCVs die not too long ago. I didn't actually pay any attention to it. I just kind of glossed over it, but it looks like a Baneling counterattack was mostly dealt with. But not entirely. There's both physical and emotional damage on those SCVs. Hellions biting back the creep spread as much as possible. It looks like HeroMarine will have that 1-1 push coming up. He's got Combat Shield just started, but without Combat Shield, those Stim Marines, even with better upgrades, are one good Baneling hit away from being reduced to almost 0 in number. The Queen's helpful, but until Combat Shield, you don't really have the staying power. Banshee continually annoying Zerglings, who are continually frustrated by having wings yet unable to fly. The chickens of the Starcraft world. A 4th command center. Armory. HeroMarine building a big Gabe level wall, including a sensor tower as well. Gonna actually spot the Baneling counterattack here. Overseer taking a look at the most standard Terran base you will ever see. 5 barracks, a factory, a starport, armory being built. Which is, if Reynor had, like, if you gave Reynor $500 if he could draw a Terran base right now, it would look probably exactly the same. Here come the Marines, maybe a little surprised at what they find. There is no burrow. It just started. Ooh. Those last 2 Banelings finding an almost certainly accidental hit. HeroMarine losing a few of those. But at the end of the day, what? Oh. Manual detonation of Banelings to kill a Widowmine. While he might lose a few Marines, he gains a lot of position on the map. He's clearing out the creep, going in towards the 3rd. Few changelings in the way. But this is what HeroMarine is so good at. He's not worried about details. He's more of a big picture kind of guy. But we'll see if Reynor's able to take advantage of that and just overwhelm him before he realizes. The Widowmines find some shots, but are immediately cleared up. The Knitting Crew comes back in to spread the creep, which is already most of the way down the lane on the other side. HeroMarine already... Let's actually go to the Big Gabe action cam here. He's got a perfect multi-prong setup. He's got 3 lanes and 200 supply with 2-2 on the way. This is premium Terran right now. Hold on. Meanwhile, Drilling Claw's done. Widowmines picks up a few of the Marines, looks for the rest. Banshee still going to work. Attack towards the center. pre-spreading out, anticipating the Lings and Banes to come back to defend it. I think anticipating correctly. Moving out with the left-hand side, sees the counterattack with the well-placed sensor tower. A lot more Banelings. Whole lot of Marines going to be taken down in this fight. But HeroMarine is sending out another group. Suddenly, Reynor. This actually seems like a bit of a gamble. That's a lot of Marines committed, and it wasn't at the same time. This was afterwards, though the drones are being targeted down. Everyone dies at the end. That's the end of this story. Spoilers. 13 drones go down, but as Reynor plummets to only 80. Honestly, I thought this was going to be HeroMarine showing off and flexing on Reynor. Instead, Reynor just bats him down on both sides, and HeroMarine is left with a supply lead, as Zerglings and Banelings are hard to get in that number. But he's been pushed off the map. Oh, killing any amount of queens will help. There's already Hive tech on the way, though. Hive is complete. Lurker Den complete. Vipers complete. Evolution complete. The medivac count's starting to outstrip the Marines, as the efficiency hasn't been perfect. He has pushed back the creep, but we do actually have to ask the question of at what cost. Liberator finds a few drone kills, almost gets a queen. Baneling mine on the edge as he retreated. We'll see if Big Gabe gets caught by it. Reynor now building his trademark lurkers. Honestly, Reynor takes a chunk. About 11 Marines, based on the fact 11 supply drop. Immediately replaced in the production tab, but not here for this push. The Lurkers complete. The Lurkers do not have range as of yet, so that means Marines still have an opportunity to maybe outmaneuver them, if not fight head-on, though I wouldn't recommend that second option. Yanks and a Liberator. The Queens, very unhappy that they exist. Beautiful parasitic bomb. Big Game trying to figure it out. Kills the medevac and the rest dart away, but that effectively breaks the back of this push. Bruises a lot of the medevacs and removes the Liberators. Widow Mines, Widow Mines, Widow Mines. He doesn't Widow Mind anymore. Yes, he does. Widow Mines, Widow Mines, Widow Mines, Widow Mines. Yes, I know I keep saying it, but he keeps dropping them. 9 drones. The creep tumors actually body blocking the queens out of building more creep tumors, which feels like something's gone wrong here. HeroMarine forced to scan again. The high ground. Widow Mine's finding some Banes in the same spot where the Baneling Mine found some Marines. How the turntables have turned. Oh my god, hold position Lurkers. He held fire on the Lurkers until the Marines were close. Or he didn't have high ground vision. Not sure which one, but here we go. Top left. Down goes a hatch. Meanwhile, Lings and Banes crash into the third. There's an Overseer in the main, and has been for like 10 minutes. The Lurkers will clean up the main army. HeroMarine is supply blocked at 148, which is even less than the supply he has, 159. Reynor, on the other hand, has no such restrictions. He's at 200 out of 200. He hasn't started +3 melee, but he's got +3 carapace. Banelings that were burrowed in the mineral mine scanned out. The SCV's on the run. Widow Mines and Baneling Mines throughout the field. The Overseer still watching, still waiting. At some point there will be a Nidus network, and his whole degree will not be useless. I spent 4 years in the lair figuring out how to send in a Nidus, and we don't have any Nidus networks. I can't believe you've done this. No, I feel underappreciated. Only the ghosts pay attention to me, which is nobody believes moving on the parasitic bomb. Does a lot of damage. Autumn colors on the air units right now, though still intact and doing maximum effectiveness. The ghosts find a few shots. The scans help them find their targets. Banelings crashing into ghosts. Down goes a command center, and the third base is overrun. Lurkers driven back, but HeroMarine struggling to keep more than one mining base intact. Overseer existing. Still showing up on the mini-map and distracting me as well. 20 SCVs down. HeroMarine still. He has the command centers. But Reynor is kind of swarming over the map. The creep is stretching all the way into what should be HeroMarine's base. HeroMarine stimming and sniping his way in towards the top left. The Lurkers forced to retreat out of the sniper squad, and the Marines doing a lot of damage in and of themselves. Nidus Network finally on the way. The Overseer's desperate calls heard. Oh my god! I love it. So, Reynor just shredded his own Zergling in order to kill the Widowmines, which is a much more efficient way than silly Overseers, who still remain underappreciated. That's one way. Alright? You don't need to see him to kill him with those spines. Another command center. That same command center as we saw earlier, but Big Gabe has another command center, he just can't land it. Especially not on a hatchery, though that should do some damage. There's only one base, uncreeped or unhatched right now, that isn't currently being mined. But Big Gabe has built the most... Oh my god, the Overseer. Timothy! Down! Right before the network! Unfortunate. Scans, finds a lot of the Lurkers. The Ghost the late game counter, but not if they get shredded before they can get their shots off. Interrupted by damage. Parasitic bombs across the board. The air is coated with them. And the medivacs, actually only half the medivacs, but all of the bases have Zerglings. Maybe besides the planetary. Forced to burrow, cleaning it out. I don't know if he noticed the third, but there's also Zerglings there. In the main, how do you even have vision? Oh, Jimothy. Not to be confused with Jimmy. This is Jimothy, the entirely competent. Meanwhile, though, Reynor, deja vu once again. Nidus in the main, hits the front. Firing squad across the board unleashes a volley of snipes that cut the lurker count down to size, though that size is maybe still too much for him to deal with. Lurkers in the main, SCVs with a non-aggression pact. Meanwhile, the Bio Army not following the same diplomatic restrictions. Down goes a lurker. Another lurker pops out and doesn't like what he sees. I can't blame him. Meanwhile, half the Zerglings, not even all the Zerglings on burrow. HeroMarine scrambling, but he's still holding it together with 150 supply. Liberators holding the line. Lands in orbital command under duress. SCVs transferring under even more duress. And Reynor just pulls apart HeroMarine, who tried to hold it together. Reynor, though, showing his strength, overwhelming the defenses. It's not enough. HeroMarine cannot hold the line. And that puts us on match point. Great games. But honestly, if you ask me how this series goes, and if you weren't paying attention when I described it, essentially the first 3 minutes of the first match that you skipped over, like and subscribe. Well, this is exactly what I expected to see as well. You've got heavy multitasking, ridiculous macro. But at the end of the day, Reynor is just a little faster. And HeroMarine not keeping up. With that said, we are on match point, and Jimmy, not to be confused with Jimothy, says we got to run a quick advertisement. Thank our sponsors. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be right back. Pause ad block, all that. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, I'm Winter, and I'm here to talk to you about real-time strategy games. There are so many great real strategy games. There's Starcraft 2. There's Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. And so much great RTS content for you to enjoy. Right on this channel. But how is the great algorithm in the sky gonna know? In the cloud, I apologize. In the cloud, going to know if you don't like and subscribe. Yes, smash that like button. Subscribe like your life depended on it. Because it's free on YouTube. It's a little confusing because on Twitch, It's not, unless you have Amazon Prime. You have Amazon Prime, right? We already know. If you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free on Twitch with Prime Gaming every single month. And just don't even think about it, just do it. You can pause right now. And now that you've subscribed on twitch.tv/wintergaming, every moment you wait, if you haven't yet, we'll give you another chance. Because every moment you wait, you're losing money for me. So subscribe with Prime Gaming. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to OnlyFans. There's so much content that you know and you love. There's literally not enough hours in the day. Like, at some point, it gets a little ridiculous. These series are like 2 hours long. Who has 2 hours to watch games every day? Well, I mean, it's not like you were playing the games anyway. Well, it doesn't really matter. Thank you. Good night. Thank you guys for sticking around. We're back to the ASUS ROG playoffs. This best of 5 between the European powerhouses. So far, so strong. Embodying the swarm. In the top right, we have Reynor. When asked, why did you name yourself Reynor? Like the character who's a, believe it or not, as you know, Reynor is a, in Starcraft 2, a Terran player. Reynor, the Zerg here, apparently because he is Italian, he thought it was spelled with an E when he made his name when he was like 8 years old. Might be like 8 years old, yes, which is how old he was when Starcraft 2 came out. So, here we are. Had to get his parents' permission to have the game is rated T for teen. HeroMarine, on the other hand, with perfect spelling. Well, just like everything he does, of course. Very methodical. Strategic. Both of them with Terran names, but only one Zerg winning so far. I don't know. Like, what does HeroMarine do to switch it up? Honestly, I thought that last game was going HeroMarine's direction. He started mixing in the mind drops. He seemed like he had the unit composition. But Reynor just... Honestly, it was the great work of Timothy in the main, the overseer. He's like, Anitas! Hello! Anitas! Anytime, Anitas the main! And then he finally died, and that's when people paid attention to him, which is very sad, but also realistic. And then Reynor made Anitas, and then Jimothy came in and took all the credit. And that's what really undid HeroMarine. This is not Clem, so that Reaper does not pick up any kills. It does not pass go. It does not collect 200 minerals. Nor a creep tumor. But that is just what is to be expected. Meanwhile, can you believe that HeroMarine is opting for a 3 command center play? I know. Big Gabe with the big macro. He is 1 match from elimination. Do we change the build, sir? No. We've been refining this build for 11 years. For over half of my opponent's life, I've done this build. And I'm not gonna stop now. He's got Stim on the way. Yes, yes. I do understand. And it's important to acknowledge for those detailed lawyers in the chat and the comments. It's not exactly the same build as Wings of Liberty. Alright? But, like, the broad strokes, the main points, the cliff notes, 3cc with Hellions into Marines and medivacs is not exactly unexplored territory. As we have here. Meanwhile, Reynor, I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Plenty of queens. Actually, this is not... Do it. Do it. Give me 2 more gases and go Spire. I want to see... It's time for Mutas. But if he doesn't get 2 more gases, I have to assume this is just mainling speed. Which is... I mean, he's going to get mainling speed, but also... Mutas. There's no Evo chambers. Zergling counterattack on the 3rd, finds no targets, runs off into the sunset. The upgrade advantage for HeroMarine is going to be dramatic. He's got 1-1 already started. The Evo chambers for Reynor just begin building. Or morphing, or whatever it is they do. Kind of disgusting. Is it a promotion or a punishment to get built into a building as a drone? Does it depend on the building? Does it depend on the drone? Important questions. One on the... Like... It's a different choice, this game. Reynor focusing on massive economy and just massing Bane. Kind of going back to his roots with this. HeroMarine, on the other hand, has really cut out all the details. He's cut out the Banshees. He's cut out the battle cruisers. We're left with Marines, medivacs, and maybe a couple tanks. Literally the classics here. 6 minutes in, with nearly 60 SCVs, and better upgrades than Reynor. This is about as sharp as timings get. Yeah, the Stim Marines. Don't want to risk them. Good counterattack. Ooh, that SCV tells a lot of the story. The rest of the story is that Banelings from that earlier counterattack ran into the 3rd. Oh my. The minimap shows HeroMarine's intentions as the Marines continue across the map on the march. Baneling speed is done for Reynor. 1-1 is a long way off, and he's going to easily be caught between a rock and a hard place. Quite a choke point here. Not particularly asphyxiating, but it's not an easy location for Zerg to attack into. Getting around the back and dealing with these tanks, not easy. 1-1. Is complete for the Marines. He picks up and slips away. Reynor deals with it. Not nearly as bad as I thought it might be. And he will buy himself time to get 1-1 done. Banelings rolling into the 3rd. He decides to take the easiest target, which is the one that doesn't run away, the supply depots. Actually supply blocking HeroMarine. And will undercut some of the efficiency of the push. Zerglings counter. This is a mass ling. He's doing a Lingbane challenge right now. No Hydras, no Lurkers, no quick hive. Just Lings and Banes. He's already got a macro hatch in the main for additional larva. He's overrunning the 3rd. HeroMarine constantly being poked and prodded by Zerglings at his 3rd base. And you look back, you think, oh, okay, how's it going for him? He's actually even on supply, but he hasn't started his 2-2 upgrades. HeroMarine. 3, 2, 1. He knows how important it is. He was working on things on the map. And he did miss the armor upgrade in game 1, and that did end up costing him somewhat. I know he needs gas, Twitch chat. That's why I'm concerned. It's like, Winter, do you not read the amount of gas here on the count? I do. Oh my. Can you not read?
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
Unfortunately, HeroMarine didn't read the gas number, I think, as he queued up a few more units, including Liberators, earlier on, and ends up without +2 armor on the way. Reynor, on the other hand, limited to just +2 armor, which is also a mistake. Both these players missing one of their +2 upgrades. Reynor has plenty of money in the bank. This is the risk you run by going Mass Zergling. He has 0 larva, but he has 750 gas. This attack is... The Liberators are holding the beachhead here. But... well, I mean, this is actually doing quite well. You don't usually see these type of pushes in this matchup. More of a TVP thing, but... here we are. Liberators once again opening the door and the Marines stimming right through it. Widowmine's finding some connections. There are more medivacs towards the main. The Zergling count a few banelings into the third. Not finding much. There's nothing to contest the Liberators. Marines will drop out smack dab in the middle of Venn diagram of freedom. Meanwhile, banelings, Liberators just target practice right now. The Queens are the only anti-air. And this is why I was hoping to see the Mutas. Reynor probably regretting the decision to go for 0 anti-air. Remember when we could fly? Shut up, Queens. The Queens are only barely anti-liberator, and only begrudgingly, as they take a ton of damage when they're well-positioned. Suddenly, HeroMarine up 20 supply, and Reynor's just losing on every front. Oh my god! The big hit! Okay, it's dead. He actually did it! Putting that Marine on a pedestal. Dropping on the smallest area. Zerglings on the other side of the map. Oh, Widowmines, though, starting to undercut the counterattack. This time around, there's nothing to break the... oh, wow. There go the Marines. Whoa. Zerglings in the natural. A lot of damage done to the SCVs. Down to... Reynor's clean... okay. So it looked like finally HeroMarine was taking a decisive victory. He was breaking through on every front. He was getting the damage done. There's still Widowmines out in the field. But somehow Reynor found 19 SCVs. Half the survivors are one strong look away from death. Somehow Reynor patched that all together while doing enough damage to HeroMarine to force him back. And that is why Reynor is such... like, that is why Reynor is the world champion right now of IM Katowice. It's hard to tell exactly what he's doing, but he's doing so much of it. The upgrades are going to be the recurring issue. Reynor has an infestation pit, but he has not started a hive, which is just an oversight that he's now rectifying. But without a hive, he can't get to 3-3, and without 3-3, he can't compete with the Marines, let alone the Liberators. But right now, he's just playing hopscotch, the most deadly of playground games for Marines. As he just, like, at some point, Lings and Banes, the Queens eventually struggling their way forward. There's a couple Bane Mines out here, but they don't have the range that Widow Mines enjoy. Well, he might get them this time. Nope. HeroMarine. Reynor's gonna need to pull another great counterattack out of his bag of tricks here. Overseer blasted out of the sky. Because right now, HeroMarine has consolidated his forces. And without any damage at home, it's only going to get better from here. Widowmine takes a huge bite. The Zerglings, where are the Overseers? He doesn't have any detection. The Widowmines are recharging. The beachhead once again. Inspired by 2,000 atmospheres. The Marines holding the ground the Liberators ground out for. Meanwhile, the Widowmines gonna fire again. Just one shot is usually enough to justify their cost. Another round may be deadly. Reynor negating them with individual lings, doing a pretty good job of it. But at some point, that's not fast enough. Crashing through a few more Widow Mines. Are there enough Marines left over? The answer is no. Reynor holding on, but in the main, once again, the landing party. Suddenly, well, a spawning pool is actually the most important building Reynor owns. Usually at this stage of the game, it's not a critical building. But without a spawning pool, Reynor can't build any units. Besides swarm hosts and infestors and vipers, I'm sorry. Lings and banelings and queens are most of his army. And he can't build any lings. HeroMarine's at 200 supply. Reynor, not so much. A clinical game from the German Terran. HeroMarine with... Reynor, rather, with a glaring lack of anything more substantial than lings and banelings. It kind of feels like he was asking whether or not he could, rather than whether or not he should, with this unit composition. And that means HeroMarine puts one on the board. Not to take anything away from Big Gabe, but that was like, you have a whole toolbox, and Reynor just not really reaching very far into it. But at the end of the day, even the best sometimes bleed a little. A lot, depending on how good the Widow Mine is. So, we will see. I'm hoping to see a little bit more of a substantial layer tech here on Blackburn. I want mutas! Give me mutas! And give me muta death, because that's usually what follows. It is very hard to keep a critical mass alive against a top-tier Terran, but if you can, it's actually the way to have mid-game map control. All right, everybody, place your bets. I don't know, have it like whatever your favorite snack you have is. That's your reward if you're right. Does Big Gabe go for 3cc? If you're wrong, well then you have to go watch 5 more TVZs to study up. Reynor goes for the hatch burst into gas pull. HeroMarine. 1 racks expand. So far, we're sticking to the script. I mean, I could repeat all of the things I've already said. The Lurkers were the winning move in both games 1 and 2. Not even a hint of a Hydraless Den in game 3. I think that made all the difference. Having that extra layer tech. It is, early on, against heavy marine pressure, hard to find the money. Like, you feel like you're obligated to keep building Lings and Banes, because they're putting on so much pressure with those medivac pushes. But if you don't get a more substantial unit composition by the time you're getting to the closer end of 200 supply, then it's very difficult against a Terran who's paying attention to trade efficiently in the long run. Reynor, of course, knows that. Reynor probably knows way better than me, obviously, but couldn't find the opportunity. We saw an Ultralisk Cavern in production at the end. Well, I think most of you can go get that snack now while this command center is building. This one's before starport. I'm pretty sure the others were as well, but yeah. Shouldn't be seeing anything too dramatic for at least another minute or so. Queen's pushing up. We're on Blackburn, which is a different sort of map. It is the only map, I believe, thinking about the map pool, but is the only map where you clearly expand away from your opponent. Most maps you expand either towards the sides or towards your opponent, no matter where you're going. But most of Blackburn is actually moving further away with the way it's laid out, because the spawns are in the bottom left and bottom right, as opposed to opposite one another. At least fully corner opposite. So what this means is the map has a tendency to be cut in half more often than your average one, as it gets harder and harder to pressure your opponent's economy as time goes on. Of course, this also means that things like drops and mutas, potentially, are... they're a big danger, but they're such a big danger that a lot of players will overcommit to defending against them. But maybe just the right amount on a map like this. Though the Reynor has not built... There we go. The creep tumor to the main. Not an oversight you want to be making. There are no oversights you want to be making by definition of the word. But of the ones you could, that would be pretty bad. So... just to make sure I'm clear enough there. Very important point I had to make. A Viking. A Sloverlord and a Bubula being protected by the second slowest unit in the game, Queen's off creep. The Overlord just kind of dies and the Viking leaves. Not surprising to see in this Nordic Championship. Double NG Bay, and it looks like we're kind of just gonna... This is about as close as you get to no rush 5 minutes. Just poking at some overlords, a small ling counterattack, feeling out whether your opponent's going for any intense early aggression, and then building up your economy behind. One's on the way. Reynor, once again, going to be caught with a significant upgrade disadvantage. He does not have any evolution chambers on the way. I'm now a liar, as he adds 2, but Big Gabe has already 30 seconds almost into his 1-1. So he's going to have about a minute lead, minimum, at this point. And that means those HeroMarines are going to be very effective. 4 more gases are on the way, though. Do you smell that? It smells like Baneling speed, which is kind of a weird... It's a dankness. But also a spire. Like a fresh dankness, though. Not like a musty one, because of the speed. Rolling around and stuff. A lot going on there. Anyways. Oh, HeroMarine doing his best Clem impression. Ends up not quite sniping the Banes in time. But also a Spire. I'm sorry. Oh, wait, he got 1-1. Never mind. Soon, a Spire. I do think he's going to go for it, but he does have to deal with this strong push coming out off the back of the quick 3cc into bio. No combat shield or 1-1 for about 20-30 more seconds, but that's about how much time it takes to build a Baneling, and not much more. Reynor will do just that. He's got the gold base as well. Mining minerals quicker. They'll mines out quicker as well with a few less mineral patches, so you have the same income as a regular base, just takes less workers to get there. Meanwhile, drop in the main. Spore Crawler taken out. The medevac's backed away until the area could be cleared. The Queen's trying to hold the front line. On the high ground for now, but they need some support. Baneling speed about to complete. Burrows on the way. Reynor pulled apart again. Low ground. Oh, medevac. Maybe a little too far forward. Banelings and Queens will angrily push back. Oh, God. HeroMarine looking the other way for a moment. Finds himself about a dozen Marines less now. All right. So Reynor has the gas. He's got 700 gas in the bank. He's got an infestation pit on the way. Is he going to... Oh, there's the Hydralisk down. All right. Okay. Unfortunately, no Mutas. But he is looking towards the Lunkers. And I think a strong choice. Because right now, HeroMarine is really banking on the mines. And, I mean, it's a pretty safe bet, in my opinion. But, if you're too heavy on the mines and suddenly ranged lurkers show up. Oh, great target fire from Big Game. Did that sound like surprise in my voice? A little. All right. Like, he just has been focusing more on the big picture plays as opposed to small micro moves. Marine stemming forward towards the natural, trying to take this lower lane. That's a lot of Marines. The Banelings not being hit by the mines and finding purchase. The Marine count whittled down significantly. Hive is on the way. Oh, this is going to be a great game, isn't it? Oh, it's shaping up. So what do we got right? Why do I say that? It's going to end in 1 minute. We got all the upgrades on the way for both sides, but nobody has a decisive lead. Because while HeroMarine is getting his 2-2 solid, he's getting his 4th. Oh no. The Widow Mines. Reynor is well on track. He's kind of jump-started by that gold base. He can easily get to Hive Tech while still producing things, and he's going to get Lurkers. Thing is, HeroMarine's still going to have plenty of opportunity to keep map control with the upgrades. So Reynor holds the line, but we'll see if he can push it any further. The Marines that were previously guarding that line are now, well, they've evaporated. I may have spoken a little too soon as more Marines caught between a supply depot and Banelings on either side. Full evacuation, abandoned ship, Hydra's lings and Banes, oh my, But Widow Mines on the other side. 6 drones, 10 drones, and a new no. 126 supply for HeroMarine, but he bites into the economy, and the worker counts are evening up. A Liberator as well has a few kills. 108 supply is the max for HeroMarine, who has to rebuild depots as so many went down at the 3rd. A massive mine hit, 23 kills, and with it, Reynor tries some mines of his own, doesn't pan out. 2-2 just now finishing. The Marines, with enough of them, can hold the line. I'm not sure that command center landed in the perfect spot, but close enough. I mean, it's a little more defensible there. That Liberator, there's one Hydra, which, thanks to a patch several years ago, no longer gets one shot by Liberators. At least without upgrades on the libs. Fun fact. Very thankful Reynor is right now. 6 lurkers on the way. A bit of an awkward situation with the medevac flying over the Zerglings. Both players scouting important things here. HeroMarine moving to intercept, and Reynor moving to intercept. So we're kind of outflanking each other a little. Creep still spreading forward. About the halfway mark, which is where I put this game right now. +3 attack as well as +1 ranged. Slurping up the Marines, sniping the hatch. I don't know if it was canceled, but at this point, a few hundred minerals either way, not a huge deal. Adaptive Talons on the way. Did he already get range? No, he started with the Lurker Burrow and speed upgrade. It's like Tunneling Claws and Metabolic Boost all in one. They get real efficient on Hive Tech. Oh, not Tunneling Claws. What if Lurkers had Tunneling Claws, though? Great idea. Anyways, a lot of Marines down at the start of the fight, but the back of the fight looking pretty good here for HeroMarine. As the Lurkers force back, the Liberators yanked in, but there's not enough anti-air to actually deal with them. They re-siege, and the double siege push is more than enough to push Reynor out of any critical bases. Reynor is maxed out, 200 supply, but he can't quite bring it to bear at the moment. Zerglings on the third, slipping into the mineral line, overwhelm the tank, and there's no other defenses for the SCVs. The Lurkers gunned down, though, valuable hundreds, thousands of gas. 8 Lurkers down. That's over 1,000 gas if you include the Hydras, and you can't have a Lurker without a Hydra. Come on. More Lurkers on the way. Lurker speed, a few seconds out. 3-3 finish for HeroMarine. Now contesting the middle of the field. The critical mass, not a single Baneling in sight, but Marines hold the line. Liberators march forward. HeroMarine trying to break Reynor. Reynor has not much ground left to give. Tanks on the creep. The creep still could be added into the fight. Both players near maxed out, but not quite there. Everything thrown into it. More Banelings. A few Marines step forward. Another round of Liberators. He's running out of space. The Queens are buying time. The Marines are stimming in. Reynor pulls back. HeroMarine claims the area between the low ground and the ramp. He's pressing the issue, not giving Reynor any time to breathe or build. The double siege push with them. Oh, he goes into the Lurkers, though. The Lurkers actually flinch first. HeroMarine not losing as many Marines as he could have. Big Gabe is looking to put another one on the board and bring us to match point. But Reynor still has a lot of supply. He was gathering energy on the Vipers. He's moving around. Hitting the tanks and abducting the Liberators is going to be key. HeroMarine sees the Vipers. He moves in to intercept. There's nothing to deal with it head on. Blinding cloud across the board. Siege tanks negated. Marines let the run. Splits up to the high ground. The Baneling count drops down, as do the Marines. The Lurkers stepping forward, but the Marines step too. And guess what? When the smoke clears, when the Vipers are out of energy, when the Banelings are all gone and the nest is obliterated, the Terran stand tall and Reynor not at all. 160 to 130 supply and dropping. Reynor counterattacks. A little late. Unlucky Marines. The tank, 15 kills and 15 HP. Broodlings popping out of a hatchery. Reynor could not afford to lose. The counterattack, as it always does with Reynor, does way more than it ever deserved to. But it's likely not quite enough. The orbital, he doesn't even lift. The Marines are fighting the Hydras. There's no splash damage here to speak of. A few spore crawlers, which I guess are a bit of a backstop, but Reynor, SCVs, the boys are fighting. Reynor is evacuating to whatever bases he has left, but HeroMarine, once you take out the natural, the rest is, well, he did the hard part first, which is probably the most efficient way to do it. Reynor with a few Vipers, but there's nothing left in support. A handful of Hydras and Queens. Ugh. With the little, I don't know. Well, interesting. A classic Ugh. And we're going to match point. Which is Italian for I hate Liberators and Widowmines, and this matchup is terrible, and I can't believe I let it get this far. I had 2-0, what am I doing? Italian is a very dense language, but you can't put gestures easily into text. So here we are translating. Romanticide. Game 5. A map that, well, I don't think anybody's unhappy with. At this point, who's favored? The first two games really looked like Reynor had a grasp. The last two looks like HeroMarine has found his groove. So it's trending in Big Gabe's direction, but what a match. Thank you for watching. Jimmy? Jimmy! Game 5. Reynor in the bottom right. Big Gabe in the top left. Oh, all right. I know you enjoyed your snacks already, but maybe popcorn. Because we, once again, not a proxy Rex, we already know that. We have to ask ourselves the question of, will these 5 minutes look exactly, in the production tab at least, look like the last 2 games, if not 4? Because the last 2 games, HeroMarine has cut out the details. He's trimmed the fat. What is the fat in this case? Battle cruisers, banshees. B is just an inefficient letter. All right, it's got curves. Okay, HeroMarine is a man of straight angles and efficient lines. And that's why M is what he's... And T, which only takes 2 lines to draw as well. M only 1. How many lines does it take to draw a B? You know, I'm not really making a great argument here. Yeah, and I mean Germans, they have a weird B that's actually an S. So BS is in their language, which is why these B units are not panning out well for the German player here. How to say you're American without saying you're American? Sehr gut. Don't worry, I'll say it. I'm American. I'm not afraid. Nobody asked. I don't need you to. I'm here to commentate, okay? We're not here to play in the tournaments. We're here to talk about them. Thank you for watching. Yeah, popcorn it is. 3rd CC before starport. Meanwhile, Reynor, not changing it up at all. We're going to play essentially 5 different... this is like... It's like Jolly Ranchers, which might be only an American thing. Well, some of you will know. I know who I'm appealing to. Jolly Ranchers, they say there are different flavors. Okay, and there are, I guess, but they're all essentially the same thing. The background might change. You might convince yourself it's a different flavor, but they all taste the same. They're all just caramelized corn syrup. Just like 3cc versus 3 hatch. The map changes, but the builds stay the same. Wow, we're really reaching in Game 5. Well, when they both go 3 base... There's not much to talk about until, like, the 4-minute mark. So, I don't know. You come up with something. Come on. I can only talk about the game being the same each time. For 10 years. 10 goddamn years. Well. Stim. All right. I'm just going to close my eyes. All right. I'm going to go to the official observing. We got the Hellions pushing in on the Queens. Stim is on the way. HeroMarine starting up his 2 extra racks with a Viking coming out. The creep spread trying to push out. A handful of Zerglings will help to drive back and maybe look for a counterattack. But as Reynor continues forward, starting his lair now. Reaper still gonna dance around but not really find anything. As now HeroMarine adding on 2 engineering base about the same time as usual. Reynor still staying off that evolution chamber as he bolsters his drone count a bit and adds the spore crops. Zerglings working on the rocks, and we move into the mid game. All right. No Viking. Huh. My camera didn't move? Well, that wasn't the point, was it? So, we're exactly where we expected to be. The medevacs, actually, skipping the Viking, I take it back. All right, this is the grape Jolly Rancher, which everyone has strong opinions about, because it actually tastes different. I think it tastes terrible. But you could have the wrong opinion, I guess. This is a 3-2-1-1. 3 barracks, 3 CCs, 2 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 starport. For a quick marine drop. Just skipping the Viking or Liberator or any of those shenanigans. We've stripped out the Viking. Just M's. We've stripped out everything besides Stim Marines and Medivacs. And it looks like it's gonna pay off because Reynor is not ready. His Banelings are not in position. He had a small counterattack, but the Hellions were in position to deal with it. And by not ready, I mean Reynor gonna take a little damage, but should have enough to deal. At least to push it away. Once they get behind the natural, a little annoying to deal with those medevacs. Another it literally... What do? You drop the base. I didn't have any better jokes there. I already used the Skrillex album thing, right? Yeah. Can't use the same joke 2 days in a row, even if you are casting for multiple hours. That's illegal. Moving on! HeroMarine pressing the issue. The medevacs just hanging out, waiting for their moment. Couple spore crawlers. Right now, the queens and the spore crawlers are kind of keeping those medevacs behind enemy lines. Once again, though, Reynor not opting for any lair tech outside of the Lings and Banes. And once again, HeroMarine, I think, gonna be quite comfortable with that. The first 2 games featured Hydras early on. Like, not Hydras just for lurkers, but Hydras as part of the army composition. Oh, the Marines cleaned up. I don't know how many Zerglings they got, but upon losing a medevac with some Marines in it, I think that's going to balance out the trade pretty well. Queen still pushing out the creep, but really just not nearly as much creep spread as you'd like to see from this very ground-based unit composition. Especially since every unit benefits drastically. From Queens, especially, obviously, to Lings and Banes. Really need creep to take a good fight, especially if you don't have an upgrade advantage. Ooh, Widowmine finds a very... I'm not sure if that Widowmine... I think that Widowmine may have killed a medevac. Or maybe not. Either way, those Widowmines did almost nothing to the Zerg, though pretty well against the Terran. But if he just lets them recharge, then that would be very bad. Yeah. It's not usually the first shot that's particularly devastating. It's any others is when they... Oh, there goes the base. Down goes the 5th. Queen picks up, gets out. Liberator showing up to the party. A Queen and a Spore Crawler will strongly suggest the Liberator leave, but the Liberator takes a few with it. Hive is on the way, halfway done. At 9 minutes. Reynor is sprinting to Hive under fire. He still has 82 drones, despite all the Zergling. He's already lost 66, 8, and counting. Not particularly bad. Widowmine splashing over the medevacs as well. Honestly, most of the anti-air damage so far for Reynor has been dealt by Widowmines. At least from what we've seen so far. On the high ground, finding a decent location to trade with a handful of Zerglings, a few drones. HeroMarine not finding the decisive fights that he'll be looking for with 2-2 done, but he does have a 20-something supply... Oh, not anymore! Not anymore! The Baneling Mine, finally for once... finding purchase. Perfectly on target. HeroMarine immediately replaces all the Marines left. He's still got that supply lead. A few more Marines down, but this is peak Big Gabe here. Unfortunately for Reynor, he's got money in the bank. His lurker den's not done yet, though. And he doesn't have enough Hydras to build the lurkers from it. Where are the Zerglings? I found the Zerglings, guys. On the other side of the map, he's actually supply blocked as well, but the reinforcements jammed in between the factory and the orbital going to be more than enough. Reynor actually gets to +3/+3 first, though. He's got his lurker den. He's still got 74 drones. He's got money in the bank. He's building Baneling. But those Banelings are going to be happened upon by probably a very predictable Terran army, considering the situation. HeroMarine is still holding just outside the front door of the 4th base. There are still some Whittle Mines involved. The shift hold position. Lurkers. Where are the Lurkers? Where are the Lurkers? There are 5 Lurkers somewhere. They don't have any of their hive tech upgrades. The Banelings just kind of shrugged off by HeroMarine's army. Meanwhile, the other side, Whittle Mines, not enough to stop the Marines from having to evacuate. Where are the lurker ups? He has not started his lurker upgrades, and that's a huge deal right now. Those are the things, like, as the Liberator count and the Ghost count, which Ghost Academy just finished up, you need that lurker range. He needs it. Like, I cannot stress how important that is. Both in terms of staying out of danger and putting the Marines and mines in it. It essentially is the upgrade that makes lurkers worth building. Whittle Mines do about as much damage to Terran as Zerg, but Zerg has less to work with. HeroMarine's still focusing on the angles that aren't covered, which is a surprising amount of them. Reynor is struggling to pull this together. He still doesn't have the lurker range upgrade. He starts it now. A burrowed Baneling mine. HeroMarine with a comfortable 4 base. He's got a 5th on the way. Like, yep, he's looking great. Reynor, it's not good. It isn't good. He has lurkers. He's pulled himself out of terrible situations before. This is a hill to climb, though. Partially, literally. Oh, losing 3-4 lurkers for just a few bio units is not the trade he is looking for. Is there a Nidus network? No, 3-3's finishing. I'm pretty sure the Vipers did the damage to this hatchery, which is now incredibly vulnerable to being sniped. Whittle Mines are dotting the field. Baneling Mines not as prevalent. Seismic Spines, that lurker range finally done. And that is going to be... That's essentially just going to be a no for bio units. Unless it's like a low single... Here we are again. I sense a disturbance. Jesus. Will the Whittle Mine kill the Banelings? Oh! He scanned, killing his Whittle Mine with the burrowed Banes. So that happened. Meanwhile, HeroMarine pressing into the main again. The Spore Crawler's trying to zone out, but the drone's vulnerable from the high ground. Reynor supply blocked a surprising amount of times for someone who's been maxed out. Reynor keeps losing Overseers. Parasitic Mom, Big Gabe splits off pretty quick. There's a Ghost in there as well. Oh, watch out! Zergling's coming down to have something to say. 3-3 upgrades for the key units on either side. No ranged attack, though, and no mech armor for HeroMarine. No ranged attack for Reynor on those Hydras and Lurkers, and no mech armor for Whittle Mines and medivacs. I would definitely say the ranged attack more impactful than the mech armor, but something to note. He hasn't gotten the lurker speed / burrow speed upgrade either. Reynor been struggling. He's starting it now. He notices just about the same time. He's got a Nidus network building. He's going to try to tie all this together. Ghost finding the snipes. Viper's committing a bit of a mass kidnapping there, as you can hear the ghost dramatically dying. The Lurkers will hold the base. Reynor's struggling to get any mining up and running. HeroMarine now has the income advantage. He has 5 bases himself, holding him down with planetaries and adding 2 or 3 more CCs on top of his already sizable count. The Lurkers looking to establish the high ground. Mines are actually serving as the most dangerous sensor towers here. Oh, being cleaned up now. Are there enough ghosts to deal with the Lurkers? The Lurkers forced to back off, trying to get out of vision. Not going to be quite enough for many of them. More snipes coming through. The Bio Army stepping a little too far forward, but cleans up the hatch. Widowmine's trigger on the Broodlings awkwardly. Reynor down to 1 base of mining, pretty much. Well, yeah, about 1 base. They're both at half mineral patches and dropping fast. Few more Lurkers down. A lot of Zerglings in front, but not many Banes. Without the Lurkers, the critical mass of Marines will be able to hold. So this, another drop. HeroMarine still near max. Reynor, on the other hand, he's scrapping whatever he can get together. Nidus now working the main. This is the move that has undone HeroMarine this series. But this time, it's a desperation play rather than an alternative tactic. He scrambles into position in time. He deals with the Nidus with reinforcements. Even if the Nidus did come through, Reynor has hard decisions to make about where his units are dispersed. As he is not maxed out, he's facing down superior army supply. Though Lurkers can be a disgustingly cost-effective unit, ghosts are the other side of the coin. He actually rapid-fired a bunch of snipes on a single Lurker, and lost a bunch of ghosts to the Vipers, so HeroMarine, a bit of a misfire there, but still closing it. Yeah, he has rapid-fire snipe for sure. But a bit of an awkward exchange, especially because, wait a second, Reynor, why is Reynor ahead on supply? The Nidus in the main, popping out, oh, Zerglings awkwardly. The Lurkers killed 12 SCVs. What? Another Nidus? The reinforcements not targeting the Nidus, the Zerglings trickling through. We'll be gunned down. Reynor, he's so good at this. But HeroMarine still has all the units that can't be select all army hotkeyed back across the map. We know what you did, Big Gabe. Widowmines, sieged up tanks, and Liberators remain as goalposts there that Reynor has to step through. Meanwhile, though, Reynor actually on the offensive across the board. No counter damage. Oh my god, the Lurker. Oh my god, the Lurker. The Lurker! Finally, oh my god! 23 kills! Most of them bio and ghost! Oh no! It's falling apart a little here. He's still got a lot of supply and economy. He's still got 6... The Lurkers are in between the bases! Oh, HeroMarine struggling to pull it together. The Niduses have not done the damage, but they've just cost HeroMarine the initiative. They've cost him the ghosts. They've cost him dozens of SCVs. They've cost him a lot of map control, but not yet have they cost him the game. That was the longest way I've ever said, but at what cost? But I think it needed to be said. Because Reynor, well, will it burn? Well, the SCVs had to come from somewhere else to repair. Those are the only ones qualified. Reynor has still lost 8,000 more minerals. Reynor has been still struggling to even match the income of the Terran. There's a Widowmine there. There's an Overseer. Oh, well. That's... Next! Oh! Whoa, a little rough. Reynor stepping forward, but all the ghosts are in a good position here. Well, are they? Where's the scan? Where's the scan? So, Lurkers and Snipe have the same range, but there's a lot of weird interactions. The lurkers caught shot in the back. But the burrowed lings give vision for a Nidus. But there's plenty of units in the main to help deal with it. HeroMarine consolidating his position. It looked dicey. It looked real slicey, and that was most of the problem. But at the end of the day, it looks like the supply, the unit composition, and the general position will favor the German. A reverse? Well, a lot of ghosts are dying. A reverse sweep? Not if he loses all his ghosts. What are you doing? Oh my god. Like, he should be winning this. For all intents and purposes, I don't know how Reynor is even staying in the game. Like, Raynor's down 20 workers. He barely has any units! Like, he's got 8 lurkers, 49 zerglings. Right now, HeroMarine has 8 ghosts, 10 medivacs, 8 liberators. On paper, HeroMarine has all the units he needs to close this out. Like, the anti-air for Reynor consists of a Hydra, 2 queens, whatever spore crawlers, and a prayer. The liberators alone are essentially uncontested. And Reynor agrees. HeroMarine with a the stalwart mental fortitude of the largest game the world has ever, the universe has ever seen. HeroMarine finds his way into a victory. Reynor not able to close it out. I think he might be kicking himself for the Ling Bane style on 2,000 atmospheres, but a well-deserved victory. A great set. An exciting match. Even with the first 5 minutes being essentially interchangeable. Terran versus Zerg at its best. Unless you're a filthy cheeser or rogue. So, well, I didn't mean to repeat myself. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. ASUS ROG Fall. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Ding, ding the bell. What would you change? Or nothing? What's your favorite snack? All that. Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill. See you next time.